So Tottenham have just drawn yet another game at White Hart Lane, and we thought their problems were over after smashing Borussia Dortmund apart in the Champions League. Is it a hoodoo or just mere teething problems? What do you think? When will they get back to winning ways? Anyway, let's take a look at 6 other hoodoos, curses and superstitions within the game. Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey had probably the most unfortunate hoodoo or curse attached to him. There was once a time where the Welshman was a free scoring midfielder. The only problem was that once he did find the back of the net, more often than not, somebody famous wound up dead. The likes of Osama bin Laden, Steve Jobs, Whitney Houston, Ray Williams, Paul Walker, Robin Williams, David Bowie, Alan Rickman and most recently Bruce Forsyth all passed away in weeks where Ramsey scored. Rather than accept that people die every minute of the day, famous or not, the media chose to lumber at least some of the responsibility onto the Welshman's surly shoulders. Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale might be one of the world's footballing superstars right now, but there was once a time when Harry Redknapp tried his best to keep him as far away from the pitch as he could. It's hard to believe there was ever a time where the Welshman was viewed as a hindrance, and especially to a bottom half club like Spurs, but it took him 2 years and 24 league appearances to appear on the winning side for his team. And even then he couldn't exactly mess it up, coming on with 6 minutes remaining and his side already 4-0 up. Redknapp claimed the left back has everything to be a top player, he just has to learn how to defend. Does he though? Jack Rodwell. While we're on the subject of winless wonders, let's take a look at Jack Rodwell. You might have found it hard to believe that Bale could have taken so long to win a game of football. If you were told that it took Jack Rodwell 3 years, you might ask why it didn't take him longer. Since signing for Sunderland in 2014, the former Everton prodigy has provided so very little use, as demonstrated by it taking him 37 games and over 1,000 days to start a winning game for the Black Cats. It's a little late now, David Moyes, but here's a thought. Rather than trying the same formula over and over again and getting the same result each week, why not just accept what the footballing gods were trying to tell you, nay, what your own eyes were telling you, and just leave Rodwell on the bench? Then you might have actually won some games last season, and who knows, you might not be sitting at home watching Countdown these days. Benfica. Benfica fans must be sick to the teeth of European finals. They've played in 8 of them since 1962 and have lost every single one. So who should they blame for this? A mental fragility? The fact that their opponents were simply better? Of course not. The club is cursed. At least that was what was repeated in May 2014 after a penalty shootout defeat to Sevilla in the Europa League final, 12 months after a tasting defeat to Chelsea. Former manager Billy Gutmann had led the club to back-to-back European Cup victories over 50 years ago, and the Portuguese side looked set to establish a period of dominance on the continent. However, his request for a pay rise was refused, and he stormed out, allegedly leaving behind a curse with the declaration that not in 100 years from now will Benfica ever be a European champion. The likes of Eusebio have even ventured to his grave to plead for the curse to be lifted, but it looks like it'll just be another half a century for you lads. Better put on the kettle. Juventus. A workman should never blame his tools, but you can't help but feel that Juventus might be onto something. Following their 4-1 defeat to Real Madrid in the Champions League final, the old lady have now lost 6 of the last 7 finals they've played in their traditional black and white jersey. Perhaps they might adopt AC Milan's unique superstition, who prefer to wear the away kit, an all-white colour, for Champions League finals. To be fair, it's worked out pretty well. Out of 8, they've won 6, and by God, it should be 7. To contrast, England have never won a World Cup in a white jersey, but I think that might be for very different reasons. Andres Iniesta. Andres Iniesta is one of the finest midfield architects Europe has ever seen over the last 15 to 20 years, but he's also never lost a game for club or country in which he scored. That'd be 54 times for his club and 13 for his nation, one of which won the World Cup for Spain 7 years ago. James Milner holds a similar record, having never lost a Premier League game in which he's found the back of the net. For a man with 47 goals to his name and having played for the likes of Leeds, Newcastle and Aston Villa, all who have since been relegated, that's pretty damn impressive. What's even stranger is that Darius Vassell also avoided defeat in the 46 Premier League games in which he ended up on the score sheet. I'm not sure how either. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.